I'm your host, Justin Tuminowski. You can find me at Real Estate Justin or at Real Estate Justin on the socials. And guys, I have a very special guest here. We have a really powerful story of creative finance, wholesale, and monetization, but also connecting and looking at things in 3 and 4 dimensions rather than just black and white, 2-dimension, quick transaction wholesale. So stick around, listen to this. You're going to figure out how to make and monetize a transaction. And when you think the chips are down, you actually make more at the end. So I have my guest, Kristie DeLouise.
Hello.
Coming from straight. Yes. Kristie, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you guys are up to.
Awesome. So nice to meet everybody. Thanks, Justin, for having me here. My name is Kristie DeLouise. I am originally born and raised in Staten Island, New York. New Florida transplant down in South Florida, near West Palm Beach, called Lake Worth Beach. My husband and I, John Matland, we came down here 2 years ago for what I call climate and cash flow. We wound up actually embarking on our real estate journey at that time 2 years ago, where we kind of wanted to go and strive for financial freedom. So I never had previous real estate experience. Took the jump. I was a corporate W-2 worker working for JP Morgan, and my husband was prior a healthcare worker. X-ray and CAT scan tech. He lost his job during the pandemic. And so after he did some stints in radio, hosting, and broadcasting, we wound up changing directions and coming down here, finding a rental, which we wound up then moving into instead of renting out, and then growing our portfolio. And then we wound up actually engaging in wholesaling, where we met our team, Luxmore, and forming our company, JMKD Ventures, that works with Luxmore to do creative wholesaling. So that is where we're at, hopefully trying to grow the portfolio as well. We did wind up getting another quadplex, so 5 doors in 1 year. Pretty aggressive, but it's been fun.
What's the strategy? Just long-term rentals on those units?
Yes. 4 of the 5 are rented. 2 are rented to college students. So we kind of are doing a little bit of co-living there, not really, just more traditional student. And then the 5th one is actually a house that's part of the 4 unit. We had to get it rented. Well, we had to renovate it. It had tenants in it for about 3 or 4 months after we bought it. And then we realized that it really needed some TLC. So we did some renovations. And then now we're looking to rent it, but we're trying to figure out the best strategy on that one, which has been a little bit challenging just because of the location. It's a great beach town, Lake Worth Beach. It is very up and coming. However, the funds to furnish are then a consideration after spending all this money on renovations. Pet split is also a thought, or co-living is a thought, but same conundrum there. And then also the windows are in South Florida. You do need hurricane windows in a lot of instances. This is a 100-year-old house. Yes, we bit off one of those really old ones. So the windows are old single pane glass, and then they still have the window rattler air conditionings in there. So in addition to having to do windows and update the air conditioning to mini split, there's just way too many funds. So we're trying to do long-term rent, but we're also trying to maximize.
So, we didn't mean to talk about this, guys, everyone at home. But I think this is powerful too, because we don't get to talk about construction. That's my background though too. So, one of the things is I would look at is, are there rebates on the windows? It's just a little quick tip. It's like, are there rebates that Florida is offering right now for you to do that? There's incentivizing, and or the insurance companies will sometimes, rarely, but they will, there's some contributions. So I would look and see if there's any public energy programs, because, and where you can potentially pay, a 10th of the cost of the windows and essentially have them installed, completed for a fraction. And then the other thing is, I get it. You have the window shakers in there. And anyone who doesn't understand that, everyone who's out Southwest, and you guys don't understand. We're in, Kristie's from New York. I'm from Boston. In the old New England houses, they have window air conditioners. Now, I know most people understand that. Now, you put them in a window, you take them out because the winter's coming. Most folks just have like heat pumps and or AC condensers outside, set it, forget it.
Yeah, mini splits.
Oh, old school. Gosh, we just got mini splits up in the Northeast because they were not working because it was too cold. Fun factoid. But yes, I would say anyone out there, in Kristie's situation, I get it. I've been there too, where there's so much you can only do. There's only so much you can do, so much money to go around. And then you just got to take these little capital improvements and bite size them. So
Exactly. I mean, I could go on for days about this. We did go down the path of trying to get a window company, one of those Costco window companies who are,
Mhm.
supposed to be the best. They were amazing. Honestly, have to sing their praises, but they accepted the project, had really great financing. It was going to be 15 years, like 150 or 200 a month. Right? Like, I'll do that all day. My rent's going to cover that. They wound up coming to the house and really doing a deeper dive inspection. And they said that they couldn't take on the job because of the age of the house, the amount of, GC work that would have to be done afterwards. Permitting in Lake Worth Beach is not always easy. So, they
Shucks.
cancel. Yes. So this has been just a challenge, but we're going to persevere.
I feel,
That's the theme for the day, right?
yeah,
Perseverance.
put some storm windows on the outside, for now. I don't know. But anyway, all right. Well, guys, we're here not to talk about Florida. We're here to talk about Texas, another warm state.
That is right.
And you made like over $30,000 on an assignment of a sub 2 deal. So like, catch the audience up to speed. Is that a beach town? Is it near the water, or is it just say that? What are we doing? Is it an Airbnb? What's going on here? How'd you make money?
Yeah. So yes, it is a beach town. So a lot of investors know and sub to this area called Crystal Beach. It's right outside, or it's in Galveston. We're kind of outside of Houston on the east coast of Texas. And it's a really adorable community that allows short-term rentals and Airbnbs. It literally specializes in that. So the houses are all built on stilts. They're right up against the water, maybe, half a mile walk. They're all meant to be furnished beautifully, have different families come in for different types of holidays, summer. It's literally a community for that. So I know that there's a lot of hesitation in getting Airbnbs, but this is a location that is kind of shielded against some of those restrictions that would come in other neighborhoods or metros. So we wound up getting this house. It came across my husband, John Matlin's desk. He's the head of acquisitions over here at Luxmore. He saw the deal, and he structured it as you normally would do for any subject to deal. We look for a low equity. So I believe that the seller had bought the house in 2022 or 2023, and they bought it for around $680. Now, they had only put down a very small amount, and they have, I think, around $630 left on the property. They were Airbnb-ing it. They were close to cash flowing. I think they were generating around $92,000 a year in Airbnb, and they just kind of wanted to be out. They did not want to manage it anymore. They did not want to deal with the vacation rentals. They didn't want to deal with the monthly payment. So they wanted to move on from it. So that was one of the reasons why they entertained the conversation. Now, we're direct to agent. So John had spoken to the agent in the area, and she also had a rental very similar in Crystal Beach. It was actually on this street called Lobster Avenue. So that actually became a really fun marketing ploy to use. Who wants some butter with your lobster? Sending out text messages for this deal like that. So the agent had a deal on lobster also, and she said her and her husband were killing it. I think they were making around $150 a year. So to me, that reflected that there was some sort of upside potential for an investor. Now, we do know that the market is oversaturated just because of the way that the community is built. So that kind of creates a little bit of hesitation in an investor's mind. But we said, all right, let's go for it. Let's make an offer for this and see if we can create an opportunity for some of our investors out here. So John offered, I think the numbers came down to around $15K for the agent and $15K for the seller. And the next thing in the pipeline after he goes through all his negotiations is it lands on my desk, and I look at it to assess what I believe the assignment fee should be. So I looked at it and I said, hey, let's push the boundaries. I see some real opportunity here, especially given the agent's upside potential, the ability to add additional amenities, add additional furnishings, and make that a little bit more upscale. So I said, let's put a $60K price tag on this one. Now, after that, you go and you put it out into your marketing campaigns. So text, email blast, Facebook. We're also working with like Rob Episola's group, Creative Camp. So we put it there. And when I first put it out, we had so much excitement from the community, and that's what usually happens when you get a good deal. You're just going to get inbounds, phones, DMs, conversations, and you're going to be overwhelmed. So I wound up getting on the phone with a few different people who were super interested, put them in touch with our insurance agent, because in this area, the insurance was going to be specifically high because you can have potential hurricanes, you can have flooding. So that was definitely one of the considerations a lot of the buyers had. Talked to another buyer. He was going to go and put it through his pro forma, let me know, get back to me. I think this went on for about a week or so of buyers just coming and saying that they were going to get back to me. At one point, we finally, maybe about a week later, we found this guy named Gus. I don't know if he wants me to mention his identity, so we'll call him Gus. Gus was a software developer from California, and he was looking for tax advantages. So a lot of buyers that I work with are actually W-2 employees. They are high income earners, and they're looking at real estate as a way to offset their taxes through, the depreciation and short-term rental advantage.
I call them bigger pocket buyers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, what do you call it? Education from bigger pockets that tells people to.
Yeah, just getting in, looking to just diversify. They heard some things. I totally get it. I call them like the CPAs, maybe not the attorneys, but yes, perfect software developers, folks, too much income, need to diversify a little bit, and they heard real estate's a good way of doing it.
Yes.
So
yes.
Perfect. That's a perfect buyer.
It was a perfect buyer. Now, it was definitely a little bit more than he was looking for in terms of management and everything, but he felt like he was able to do it. He had done enough research. So he was like, let me go in and try this Airbnb here. I like the fact that it's already set up. It's fully furnished. Everything except for the Dyson vacuum was included in there. Literally specified in the contract was no Dyson vacuum.
You don't get the Dyson.
You don't get the
Comes
Dyson.
with me.
So this guy was like, I'm going to commit to it. Now, we ask for 10K EMD every time that we do a first deal with somebody. We've learned to create some additional protections for our sellers and ourselves. So we've upped that EMD because we had way too many people not close on deals and just too much, riffraff. So we ask people to commit, and we are flexible where, people are buying a lot in volume. We'll work with. So in this case, 10K EMD, Gus came and he put it down, and he was super excited about the deal. And as were we. A 30K assignment. Now I know, Justin, you started off this episode saying that we made 30K, but it was not in this round. So about 2 weeks later, King Barrel in 2024 was decided to take a turn right for Texas, right for Crystal Beach. And, all of us were kind of bracing. We were like, oh my God, is our lobster going to be fried? What's going to happen? All of us, Gus as well. We were talking. We're like, hopefully everything is going to be fine. In the end, the house was perfectly fine. The stilts withstood the test of Barrel, and business went on for the Airbnbs. However, Gus's parents were the ones that were going to be funding the down payment. And Gus's parents decided to say that they did not feel like this was a good investment for Gus anymore, and he should pull out of the deal. So he came to us and he said, listen, I want the deal. My parents, they won't do it. I said, listen, I'll put you in touch with the lender. We can try to figure this out. We can reduce our entry fee just to get it done with you. We really want to make this work. We understand how nerve-wracking it could be. So we were flexible with him, and we came down. We signed an addendum to our assignment contract, and he was like, okay, I'm going to try to work with my parents to do this. Came back, they said no. It was an absolute out. And he said, listen, I really want to work with you guys. I know the EMD is not refundable, but can you refund it? Unfortunately, the team, we had to stick to our guns because within our contract, I failed to mention this, but we had 90 days to market this. Now, one of the reasons that we did that is because we do commit to the seller. If we drop out, we're going to wind up making sure that they are compensated for that. So we said we actually owe the seller money, and the team needs to be compensated for their time. So unfortunately, we were not able to refund that EMD in this situation.
Rightfully so. Anyone out there right now listening, I need to take a pause. What she's trying to say, and Kristie's trying to say, is that they kept the EMD that this gentleman put down, and that is right. That is 100%. If it's non-refundable, then it's non-refundable. Now, if the house blew over in this hurricane and there was no house to purchase, then there's certain circumstances where, you might not maybe there's a split or maybe there's an attorney that already started some paperwork. There's an argument there to be had. But we're talking about just general black and white. You back out, you let mommy and daddy influence you. And that is such a good point that you brought up that again, that is that mentality of, and you're letting outside influence dictate your future, their scarcity mindset. I bet you they've done that their whole life to him. And I feel so dang terrible. So Gus, if you're listening, grow a set. Let's go. Get over to the sub 2 community and we'll teach you how to do deals. Anyway, I think that was super powerful where people might not understand that is acceptable and you need to hold people accountable because if you let that EMD go and Gus comes to the next deal or someone in the community comes to you with the next opportunity, they then try to treat you that way again and disrespect you and your time. Now you're setting yourself up and them, you're doing everyone a disservice and you need to, So kudos to you.
We weren't going to incentivize bad behavior. We're going to always do the right thing. So, yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Now, so Gus backs out $5,000.
Gus backs out $5,000. We're like, all right, well, back to the drawing board. We still have this thing under our contract for 90 days. So let's go back and remarket. At this point, we were right in the summer. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced this in the summer, sub 2 summers, but it becomes very dry. A lot of deals do not get done during the summer because people are going on vacations. They're hanging out with their kids, their families. Business is not a main priority. Justin, you and I were talking about this a little bit before about time freedom and, I'm still working on getting there. But when you have developed a lifestyle that allows you to take time freedom and generate passive income through rentals or, do larger wholesale deals where you can kind of just scale back during times where you can go and enjoy the warm weather and be with family. I think a lot of people do that. So this definitely influenced the engagement on our next marketing campaigns. And we put it back out at 60 and we got crickets. It was literally like scraping the bottom of the barrel. I didn't know what had happened. And this was the same for a lot of our deals that we had at that point too. So, I mean, I think for newbies and everybody, if anybody ever wants to talk about this, it's something that I think is super interesting. There are market shifts and there are different types of patterns that occur because of seasonality in the market. And the UX designer in me totally wants to explore that more just because I find it so very interesting that people do behave in different ways and then we can understand those patterns to figure out either, how to generate sales, do different sales, whatnot. But I digress. There was nothing going on this deal. And so I had to make the decision, all right, let's drop the assignment fee and put it back out again. We put it back out again, I think at 50. We said, all right, we'll try it at 40. At that point, I said, John, we need to go back to the seller and the agent and say, can we renegotiate this? Because we're doing all this work second time around. We're only going to make $10,000 on this deal. I think we need to go and ask them for a reduction. So we did that. At that point, we had a deeper conversation with the agent on her deal. And I said, listen, you do property management. So on her deal that also is on Lobster. I said, I want a little bit more information about what you have so that I can bring that to my investors as well. And maybe you can also speak to them. They were property managers as well, or her husband was. So I said, maybe you can even offer a property management package to this investor. They didn't want to do that, but hey, you win no shots that you don't take, right? But they did give me a lot more information. So I was able to put together a really nice Airbnb opportunity packet for other investors. So we put it back out at 40. And finally, I wound up getting an offer from a pretty seasoned investor for $80K. And we were like, all right, I mean, our margins are pretty slim on this, but it was September. It was September. And so we got through the summer, right? We get to September, the guy offers 30, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I think that this is it. And I had just done another marketing campaign for it, like a third or fourth marketing campaign wherever we were at. So I put it back out, accept the first offer that comes. And then what happens? We get like 3 other serious offers for $50K. Then another guy calls, no, I want that deal. I'll give you $15K over what the previous guy wanted.
They're all like the crabs in a bucket, just clawing each other down. That's so good.
Nobody wanted this thing during summer. Now we got all the lobsters coming out here for this deal. But I had already accepted that offer for $3K. So we committed to that buyer.
Good.
And move forward with him, because I think that that's the right thing to do. When you commit to somebody, you can't go back and just say,
Yeah, they were there when you needed them, and then all of a sudden, the shiny object comes through. Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, and keep going.
Yep. So we move forward with Lou, and I always like to keep backup offers. So I did note down all those 3 people's names in my iPhone, where I did a lot of my note taking at that point. So I could go back to them. So we closed the deal with Lou. I think we made like $8,000. So it was all good. We helped out the seller. We got this guy his new Airbnb that he wanted, and we were on to the next thing. Awesome. Now, fast forward to January of 2025. Lou comes back to us and is like, I think I'm done with this Airbnb. He's like, it's a great Airbnb, great investment, but I think I want to exit a lot of my properties. I want to get out a lot of my portfolio. And this is one of the ones that I just don't feel like putting the time and energy into. So we said, all right, well, maybe 3 times the charm, we will sell this thing again for you. So we took it back under contract, now a sub 2 of a sub 2. And I put it back out into the marketing world. And I reached out to my 3 people that I had in my back pocket. Yes. Called one had already invested in another deal, wasn't ready to do it. Second one was out. Third one, actually, I had a really good conversation. He was an Airbnb expert. So he dealt in a lot of really large scale Airbnbs and really pushes the boundaries. Works with like Funkit to do different types of interiors, water slides in Texas, and these huge properties for corporate retreats. So I was like, I feel like this is a really good property for you. He said, I want this property today. So I was like, oh, amazing. We're going to solve this problem right now. He's like, but the only problem is me and my wife, we just invested in something else and we can't take it on right now. But I would love to help you either find an investor for it or be a partner in the deal. So at this point, me and him, Jack, we'll call him, we started going on this underwriting adventure. So he underwrote the whole deal, and he determined that if an investor could put in $150 into the deal, get a pickleball court, get the place really awesome with their amenities, you could actually get it up to not only probably the 150 that the agent was generating, but even up on the higher ends of 180. He didn't want to promise anything, but he said, for this investment, I believe it's going to yield that amount. So we started pushing that out. We were met with a lot of resistance from people. People are like, well, why do I want to put in that type of money in order to only make 180 a year? I can get other investments that are better for a better cash on cash return. And yeah, I mean, you could, to find the opportunity for the right person. This would be the right opportunity, who wants to get creative and who wants to really make a competitive difference in that market. So we searched for high and low for people. And then I said, listen, Jack, I'm going to connect you with my go-to PML, Jeff. And I think that you guys would get along really, really well. And I think that you would hit it off, and maybe even you can create a deal out of it together. So I put them together. They talked. Jack ran all the information through to Jeff, and Jeff was like, I really like this opportunity. So, but Jeff at that point was out of his own funds too. So they decided to go in as PMPs and hopefully raise funds or wait until some other funds were coming back. And then in order to get another amount, so I think we wound up reducing it down for them also. But in order for them to get the remaining, which they did not have, I came in again and I said, well, hey, I have a few Gators that I know who might want to lend and give you the gap. And I connected them in there, and we wound up making a 3-person deal on that one, and sold that deal once again 3 times.
Wow. Who ended up being the end buyer of that property? Is it one of those, was it that operator? Did he stay in?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, right on.
Did. They are currently in plans to make a full-on pickleball resort. Like they have the plans.
They're going, they're going to make it the nicest one in town. Oh.
It's going to be freaking awesome. I was like, well, you got to let me stay.
Yeah, you're going to go there. You should.
Yeah, we got to have a party there.
That thing, there's some sort of tie in there with you because that one won't just, it didn't never shed from you. It always stayed like a little cub next to you, right? But I think that's pretty awesome. So all in all, breaking it down really quickly for the audience, it's really, you made money on the connecting fee for the Gator. You ended up making money on the first, EMD non-refundable. You ended up making money on the second sale, subsequently like the third sale.
Yeah.
And all in all, it was about $35,000.
Yeah.
And
that's
that
right.
was work. That you definitely earned that keep. But here's the cool part, couple takeaways. Anyone listening, the EMD we already talked about, keeping the non-refundable 100%. Don't be disrespected, but also respect your own team, and everyone else needs to, no one's getting rich off the $5,000. It's just filling the coffers back up. And like you said, paying the homeowners. But then it comes down to just not saying no, but not being, you're being persistent. You're showing up, consistency, not taking a loss, and understanding that there is value in this product. There is value here. I just need to find the right person. And it's seasonality now that you've established seasonality. You've found all these other things that you never knew or never realized, I should say. And that's all part of, like, it's not just 35,000. It's the lessons that are involved too, that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that people do not realize that they're earning while they learn.
Correct. Yeah. I think it's very easy just to give up on a product or a deal if it's not selling, or people if it's not working. But you just have to be persistent. You have to, as Paige says, find their bunnies, right? You have to understand what motivates people. In this case of Jack, he really wanted to make this into an awesome Airbnb. So just finding him the right people who also saw his vision was what allowed for that to come to fruition and us to solve a lot of people's problems subsequently.
I love that. So no, kudos to you and Kristie. I mean, at the end of the day, where are you guys now? What are you looking for? What are you guys trying to solve? What are you doing in the business that what do you need?
Yeah, I mean, as demonstrated by this, I just love liaising deals. I mean, my husband calls me the dispo queen, the dispo liaison. I am kind of a really awesome facilitator, not quite a connector. I guess I am a connector, but I like to facilitate, and I like to, as you said, keep things as my cubs and make them flourish. So I would say for anybody who wants an awesome deal, I'm here to help you find it. I'm here to work with you, be your kind of like go-to dispo girl. We do acquisition. So John Matlin, my husband, he will help with negotiations, closing. He's amazing with all that. He's super creative. He's actually the one who came up with our option contract, which has allowed us to get a lot more opportunities. I would say on our option contract, we close probably between 85 to 90% of our deals. And a lot of them actually happen on the fifth day or so. So, persistence, not letting things go is really a huge thing here.
I love that. Yeah. So how do we get a hold of you? And I think you dropping your phone number?
I am. I'm doing it. So one of my claims to fame is just really being easy to communicate with and getting in touch with. Sometimes, I'm on the phone, so I will get back to you if I can't get in touch with you. Promise you. Got to get some
send her a text message, introduce yourself, and put your name and put your contact in there so she can save it too.
That's right. I will. I save everybody.
And no, I know you are, because clearly you found your buyers from that list. So talking to everyone out there, send you a text message with their information and then set up a call with her. But get ready to write her number down, guys. And you better call only for business. All right. Straight up. She has a husband.
Business owner. All right, guys. It is 917-608-8224. That is a New York number. Yes.
Right on. And what about social media? Do you guys do any of that?
We do. We're trying to up our ante there. You can find me at K DeLouise. So my full name is Kristie DeLouise. So it's KDELOUISE. And then my husband is at Johnny the Closer.
Love that. So guys, get your deals closed and dispoed all in the same house. Bring your leads, bring great leads, motivated. But also, there's probably some structuring that they can help with. And I call it deal architecture, which is something that we pride ourselves. And a few of my partners, shout out Ted Miller, good dude, does a lot of deal architecture. And it's a craft, closing, architecturing the deals. It really is. And kudos to you guys for doing it. And kudos for you for staying with it and serving and doing good business, good wholesale business.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Just doing right by the buyer, seller, agent, everybody. Just be a good person.
Yeah, right on. All right, guys, you heard it. That's the Get Creative podcast. If you want to get on and find deals on the MLS, get in touch with agents, all 50 states, you need to go get Deal Sauce at saucemydeals.com. You can get a deal just like Kristie did by getting in touch with the agent, getting the agent information in there, phone numbers, emails, the whole thing is in there. That is the Get Creative podcast. Kristie, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.